not going. Why? Because over time, they have built this kind of an institution which actually tries to insert itself into the political process and try to, make sure that there is a legitimate, constitutionally guaranteed sort of role that they can play. So it is apparently it's a shift from the security of border to security of an institution. Essentially, it is not. As I said at the beginning, that these four dimensions, that the traditional security, which is the security of the borders, or non-traditional, such as climate change, human security, some of which was discussed yesterday, unfortunately missed those, or for that matter, external or internal security. These things no longer actually can be compartmentalized. And where I see, for example, and this is just an example, I'm not suggesting that this is the only place it is converging. One of the places that is converging is on the issue of water. A simple thing it may sound or it may appear that the sharing of the water, common rivers with India, it is basically now the Bangladeshis are claiming more, not because they want, just because they want to pick up a fight with India, because it is a sheer necessity, given the not only potential. Bangladesh is the front line of climate change. It has become, it is no longer a theoretical proposition. However, the people in Washington or Geneva or London speaks that as if it is going to happen sometimes in future. The climate refugees are already moving. I mean, whether, it doesn't have to be something of a dramatic one. And that's why it's not in the television screen every evening or once in a while, because it is happening slowly. And why it is happening? Because, among other things, the scarcity of water. And that is why the sensitivity towards the Tista water sharing deal, which was supposed to be signed, wasn't signed, the deal was not made public. But what we gathered from the media is not an excellent one. It was not a great one for Bangladesh anyway. But not having anything is making things worse. That's why Bangladeshis are insisting that there has to be something, at least 25%. It's not a good idea to have a 25% share. I don't think that's a good idea. But the sensitivity towards this not signing a deal, as we have seen, the popular responses, reactions, you don't have to wait for the political opponents to speak about it. The reaction from the common people, from the civil society, from every single walks of life, is an indication that this is a very sensitive issue. And here it is taking a security dimension in the sense, because here you see the convergence of what is traditionally called security of border and what is usually we call non-traditional security threat. These are converging, and it is not converging in the policy making, but it is converging in the public discourse and spilling over to the political rhetoric, which in future might be a very serious matter to deal with, unless it is dealt at this moment promptly, in a judicious manner, and in this context it is not the Bangladeshis who can do anything about it. Whether the Indians are aware of it, willing to accept the fact that they will have to sit around the table and discuss this openly, frankly. I understand West Bengal's demands, Mamata Banerjee's demand, that there should be more water for them and so on and so forth. I understand when the Bihar is demanding that the whole Ganges water treaty need to be renegotiated. I understand that one. But as someone from Bangladesh, I would claim that we should get more. As much as the Bihar or the West Bengal would do. That's why there is a need for this cooperation somehow. Will that happen? Call it pipe dream. There is no other option. It has to take place. At what point, whether it will be pushed into a situation whether there is no other option but to decide and come to a conclusion, I hope not so. Any discussion on Bangladesh's security issues cannot simply avoid the question of the militancy. The militancy issue, the increased violence of, and particularly Islamist militancy, which have spent considerable time in the past years or decade, following that one. It is a crucial security challenge. And that is, this crucial security challenge also tells us that it is not entirely a domestic thing, because the militant groups have not been a response to the crisis within Bangladesh. It is largely a result of some sort of collaboration with Pakistan-based Lashkar-e-Taiba, Harkat al-Jihad al-Islam, and not to mention the Bardi's Rohingya issue. There are a number of issues, and not all of them are within Bangladesh. So they're drawing in inspiration and support. Where are they getting their weapons from? Militancy is not an ideology only. When we are talking about militancy, we are talking about people carrying weapons and having suicide bombing or other things. It is not only unscrupulous, profit-seeking merchants of death who are engaged in this business. They do, but there are other instruments. And there are enough evidence to suggest that Pakistani and Indian intelligence agencies are in some form or other involved in providing these weapons. For their own political reasons, is Bangladesh becoming eventually a political theater where this proxy war would be fought? Bangladesh has becoming a launching pad for having some sort of militant activities in India. Bangladeshi government is trying to protect itself, but how far would they be able to? Time will tell, but so far the indications are not great. But talking about Islamist militancy, about Bangladesh's quote-unquote internal security is not enough, because there is a low-intensity left-wing militancy. In some cases, it has taken the form of extortion, but in some cases, these are ideology-driven. Whatever the reason, there are factors within. So when I'm talking about militancy, when I'm saying that Islamist militancy is inspired by external issues, not necessarily that all things are from outside. It's not finger pointing to other people. There are reasons which is creating this so-called low intensity left-wing militancy within Bangladesh. So a combination of these two, whether in the Western and the Southwest. So what are the conclusions? Can Bangladesh actually handle this situation, what I'm describing as the external and internal and traditional and non-traditional? This combination is making it very difficult for a state. And a state, yes, time to time it takes a posture of very strong state. But Bangladesh state, I'm not sure that Bangladesh state is weak. Yes, it has been very authoritarian in terms of dealing with the opposition and all sorts of things. But the internal political instability, fragile democracy, it is not capable yet of addressing domestic problems. How it is going to address these issues? I wish I could end my presentation with a very positive note. Unfortunately, I'm not yet convinced that the things are looking out very good at this point. Thank you.